BoxBox Hub is an absolute essential for any Formula One fan, and the entire app with new widgets, statistics, localized race schedules, and countdowns, you name it. They even have support for Apple's new live activities feature with real-time updates during a race right on the lock screen, and honestly, some of the best looking widgets I've seen.
Welcome back, everybody. We are here for silver, and we are here in Saudi Arabia, of all places, and ready to get going for round 9 of silver season 7. And looking forward to this one. It's going to be a cracker indeed. My screen is all over the place there. Let me just try and sort that out. But yeah, welcome along, everyone, and welcome to the stream. Welcome to ALR if you're new as well. And we are ready to get going here in Saudi Arabia now. Then, and just counting down then for the start of this wonderful qualifying, and then the Grand Prix afterwards, of course. If you're not familiar with that, that's how the format works. But let's have a look and see how it's going to unfold then here in Jeddah. Of course, we had a very chaotic gold stream last night, so our gold race last night, so I'll go and watch that back, of course, after silver. But we are ready to get going, I think, here finally for the start of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix here in silver. So good stuff indeed then. Unfortunately, 19 drivers on the grid, that is. Hopefully someone can join in qualifying, but we'll wait and see. Jenna then is in the Aston Martin. we've got a couple of reserves in tonight, I believe. Fanjo then in the Red Bull. I think he's got a teammate of X-Gamer then in the Red Bull as well. Marvsky in the Aston Martin and Luke in the Williams. So that is going to be your lineup then for tonight. Then good stuff indeed. We can get ourselves cracking then for the start of the race here in Saudi Arabia. Like I was saying, an exciting one indeed. They had a great race here in silver then in Bahrain a week ago. Let's see if they can repeat the feat here in Saudi Arabia as well then. Good stuff indeed. We're ready to get going for the qualifying. I think the drivers are just getting themselves sorted out for their setups, and we will be able to crack on then for the race, or the qualifying start, not the race start. I'm getting ahead of myself there, but we've got the race start first, and well, the qualifying start even, sorry, first. Bear with me 1 second whilst I get my head sorted, but it's been a long day already and it's only Monday, but we're going to be delighted with some nice racing hopefully tonight then, for cheering ourselves up on this lovely Monday evening. But good stuff indeed. Luke is in the comment section. He's in P11 at the moment in the Williams car. He said this is his third time doing this track in 5 days, so hopefully he'll be familiar with the circuit layout. We've got 27 turns around this one, and it's quite a complex number of turns around this circuit, much more compared to Bahrain last week as well. 15 in Bahrain, 27 around here, so it's going to be quite a bit of strain on the arm muscles as we got ourselves underway. Then a few drivers are coming out of the box then to start us underway then for the qualifying here. 17 minutes left here in Jeddah for the qualifying to set the grid then for the Grand Prix itself then. Good stuff indeed. And we are away then for the first out laps here of the session as well then. Good stuff. Marvsky, I think, is the first driver out on track. He's in the Aston Martin tonight, car number 69. Hoping to do better than Stroll did, of course, then in the Aston Martin last Saturday now. It was a long time ago. 2 days ago. I missed the race, unfortunately, but I don't think I missed much. But unfortunately for Stroll, then he missed the end of the race as well, didn't he? So he had a bit of a problem then at turn 4. Hopefully, for the Aston Martin's sake, tonight then they don't have any issues down there. But we'll wait and see then in the race. Of course, it's well, not a long race really. It's quite a quick race. 25 laps around this circuit here tonight then. But it is one that is very treacherous indeed, with all these walls very close to the cars, I should say, close in comparison, and of course very fast-paced circuit as well, so it lends itself to a few incidents. If there's anybody crashing into the walls, then that is causing a few problems, I would imagine. Well, I have seen as well. Of course, we see quite a few incidents around Jeddah in league racing, that is. But we'll have to wait and see if Silver can keep it clean tonight here. Good stuff. We are ready to get going here for Vessia, who's going to be leading us away then on the first flying laps around this session here tonight. Then good stuff indeed for the Alfa Romeo driver. Then has had a difficult start to the season, but he's picked up some good points then so far, up in P7, I believe, in the championship standings, which is very good stuff indeed. Of course, he was promoted from bronze last season. Let's see what he can do here in silver tonight. Then down towards turn 1, we'll ride on board then with the Alfa Romeo then through the first lap here. Yellow flags in the background as people get themselves through the final corner to start off their laps, but we don't need to worry about that. And here comes Vessia then through turns 2 and 3, then in towards turn 4. Like I was saying, a very difficult turn to get it right. Then he's nailed that turn in as well. Very good stuff indeed, and very, very quick indeed as well through sector 1. Of course, we're flying through here. There's a curb of death there on the outside, and that is very wide indeed for the Alfa Romeo. He's not invalidated, I don't think, but I think he has aborted his lap then. So unfortunately for Vessia, then we'll have to go on to somebody else then. But unlucky for Vessia then, but he's got himself back up. Will hopefully get himself back underway very shortly. Then Marvsky is ahead of his teammate of Gina then. So both the Aston Martins are out very early, and I'm flying around. Then Dylan has retired in the pit lane. No, he's not. Dylan is out of the on circuit somewhere, and where is that then? Dylan has had an issue then at turn 4 then. There he is at the exit of turn 4. I just said turn 4 is a very treacherous turn indeed, and Dylan on his first outing in qualifying is out of the qualifying as well then, with the big smash there into the wall on the exit of turn 4, and that is not where you want to be crashing, as Lance Stroll can attest to as well. Then he is definitely not a fan of turn 4. Into sector 3 goes the Aston Martin of Marvsky. Then he's chased down by Jenner as well, and Jenner I think on the medium compound tyres, so he's going to be setting a banking lap I think here on those medium compounds as we go into turn 27, the final corner of course of this famous, or almost infamous circuit I should say. As up to the line here comes Marvsky to set the first time on the board. What's it going to be for the Aston Martin? It's 28.5 there, but Jenner with a 27.7 on the medium compound tyres has got himself miles ahead then of his teammate. A great lap time indeed then from Jenner, of course a returning driver to silver of course then. Glocks then the mags I should say, then up into 26 is a fantastic time for him. 27.6 from Mr. Elite then into P2. Good stuff from the Mercedes driver as well then. almost swallowing my pot noodle. I've got pot noodle all over me, so I haven't got my face cam on because it's all over the place. But there we go then. Kamara Racer up into P2 with a 27.2. Mags though with a 26.9, and he is still, what is that then? That's about 2.5 tenths away from P2 as it stands. Here comes Fandro then into Sector 3, then reserving in the Red Bull tonight for Ultimate Beast, I believe. I'm not quite sure. But there we go. As Dylan is the first casualty then of the qualifying. Here comes Fandro then round the final corner, swinging to P up into P3. Potstuff into P1. Then I completely missed that time. I'm very sorry, Potstuff, but he's got himself on pole position as it stands there. But what can Fandro do? Can he get himself further up the field? Not quite. Then it's a 30.1 then for the Red Bull driver. He must have had a difficult lap earlier on in that lap then. But Potstuff with a 26.882 then has put himself ahead of Mag then, who has been a candidate or pretty much the favourite for pole position in the last few races. Looked like he was on for pole position again, but Potstuff has come out of nowhere then with a fantastic lap time. Well, not come out of nowhere. We've seen what Potstuff can do in qualifying as well. But unfortunately for Mags, he has lost out on the top spot as it stands with 12 minutes left of the session. Still time to go then for improvements on those times as well then, but we'll wait and see. Potstuff is looking very strong here in Saudi Arabia tonight in the Alpine. Good stuff indeed. Out on track, we've got more outlaps for a few more drivers then, but at the moment I think it's just going to be Gordo then setting off into the distance then down towards turn 1 here. Good stuff indeed. He said bonjour in the comment section. I just had a Victoria sponge thing from Asda and it was lovely, so good stuff indeed. That's fantastic. Yeah, like I said, he's had a Victoria sponge. I've had a pot noodle. I think we've combined all of the all sorts of things in there, but yeah, I'm not going to go into my dietary requirements because I don't think that's what you want to hear on the stream, to be fair. But there we go then into the next sector we go then for Gordo. Then he's flying through there on the then on the exit. Then good stuff indeed. He's got the power down very very early on. Purple in sector 1 as well. That is looking promising for Gordo. Car number 3 then in the Mercedes round the hairpin we go then in the Merc as well. Then up to sector 2 we go then. Of course the Mercedes didn't have the best race of the pack, that is, compared to the rest of them of course in Saudi Arabia on Saturday. But we'll have to wait and see if they can be trumped then by Gordo and Mr. Elite here in the silver season, that is. And we'll wait and see if they can get themselves further up the timesheets as well. Then into sector 2 once again, purple for Gordo. Then he's almost lost the back end there through into sector 3 through the chicane. He's trying to keep the car under control. He's got the car under control just about. He might have lost a bit of time through there though, unfortunately for Gordo there, but let's see what he can do. Can he get himself a good time on the board, at least set his sights then for the rest of qualifying. Round the final corner we go then in the Mercedes, then up to the line. What's it going to be then for Gordo? The 3 DRS zones around here. It's going to be a very quick lap around this one as up to the line comes Gordo then into the 28.0 then for Gordo. P7 as it stands. Good stuff indeed. Very good stuff indeed as well. We've got, I think that's Luke. That is Luke there coming around the final corner as well, then into the last outings of this lap as well to set his first time on the board. Let's see what he can do here in Jeddah as well. Then, of course, his first race of the season up to P6 then for Luke. Good stuff indeed. Then we've got Mumford coming up to the line as well. Then P5 for the AlphaTauri driver. Good stuff indeed as well. A 27.5 puts himself P5 ahead of Luke, who has done a 27.7, which is P7. So good stuff indeed. Very symmetrical indeed as well. Then that's what I like. What I like to see. But I'm not quite sure the symmetry will carry on then through the rest of this qualifying, but we'll have to just put our hopes on that one. Vessia then into sector 2, almost going into the wall there on the exit, and good stuff, needs powering through. And very close to the walls, and close to the walls at every corner on this circuit as we go through into sector 3. Then purple in sector 2. That is looking good indeed for Vessia. Then had to abandon his first lap then in sector 1. Then let's see what he can do for his first time on the timing sheets here tonight. Then in qualifying, 9 minutes left here in Jeddah then for this epic qualifying that's unfolded so far. It's been pretty good stuff indeed. Let's see what Vessia can do for his first time on the board. Then up to the line. Let's see if the Alfa Romeo can get himself into the top 10. Where can he go? He goes P3 ahead of his teammate then by, what is that? That's a few thousandths of a second then ahead of his teammate, I should say then. But good stuff news for the Alfa Romeo drivers. They're looking strong indeed. P3 and P4 as it stands then onto the second row of the grid then for the Alfa Romeo team. Not looking too shabby out there. Jimmer is back out on soft compound tyres this time, so he's set a banker lap then of 27.7 then on the mediums. Let's see what he can do then on the softs this time. Hopefully he'll go a bit faster. You would expect so then on the soft compound tyres. They're much more grippier, they're much more quicker then around the qualifying, that is. But let's see, he's done I think it's a tenth and a half up on this time. That will put him in the range then of P7, maybe P6 as well. Into sector 2 we're going to have to see some more improvement then from Jin. Let's see what he can do then into sector sector 2 we go, and of course he'll go faster and faster through this lap compared to his medium time, I would believe. But we'll have to wait and see if it's going to be correlating to the timing sheets then, as almost half a second up then for Jenner, then into sector 2. That's looking promising stuff. Into sector 3, I should say, then looking promising indeed. Around into basically what is just one corner, then the final corner here of turn 27. This counts as a corner apparently, but not really, because you're going flat out and DRS is enabled. But there we go. Then round the final corner we go. We're almost clipping the wall. Then on the exit, then Max Verstappen-esque then from Jenner. Let's see what he can do up to the line then as the Aston Martin crosses the line. Then it's P3 with a 27.0. Good stuff from the Aston Martin driver. That is very strong qualifying, strong pace indeed then from Jenner. Good stuff indeed. I keep saying good stuff indeed because it's been pretty epic so far in his qualifying. Mags is back out on circuit, and he has done a 26.986. Then he needs to find at least a 10th to improve to take away that pole position then from Pot Stuff as it stands into sector 1 we go then. Let's see what he can do. He's done a 19,000th of a second improvement. That wouldn't put him in pole position as it stands. Then Kamara Racer has gone up to P2 with a 26.9 then. So Kamara Racer up into the 26s as well. Great stuff from Kamara, who is looking strong here in Jeddah. Then it's a very tight circuit, this one. And I think on the wheel which Kamara Racer is, I think that is going to be helping him towards navigating through this circuit, because it's quite a complex one as well. But there we go. We'll come back to Kamara Racer then, as here comes Mags then into sector 3. He's gone purple in sector 2. Didn't see how much of an improvement he was on there, but it could be an improvement enough for pole position. Let's see what he can do into the final sector we go then in the Ferrari. We of course were looking to see a Ferrari on pole position on Saturday, but not quite. Then Max Verstappen and Perez then locking it out, but as per usual. But there we go then. Let's see if Mags can take that pole position for Ferrari. Then up to the line then, what's it going to be for the Ferrari? It is a 26.784, which takes that pole position back then from Pot Stuff. As it stands then, Max is on pole position then for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. That is 6 minutes left of qualifying still to unfold. Jenner is back in the pit lane. I think Sweet MVP has improved to P5, then 27.0 then for the McLaren into P5. Good stuff indeed. Unfortunately for one McLaren, he is out of qualifying. That is Dylan then, who had a big smash then at turn 4 in the first outing of the session. That is into sector 2 goes Pot Stuff. Then Pot Stuff trying to reclaim back that pole position then from Mags. Both these drivers looking very quick here in Saudi Arabia in the qualifying, that is. We'll have to wait and see how they fare in the Grand Prix itself. Then 25 laps coming up then very shortly, or in 6 minutes time that is, as here comes Pot Stuff now into sector 3 as well. Can he improve? Can he get that pole position back then from Mags as we go through the last couple of corners then for this circuit then, or for the lap I should say, for Pot Stuff then in the Alpine, then down towards the heavy braking zone of turn 27, then going around. I think he might have clipped the wall then. It looked like that car slowed down a bit then. I think he might have abandoned his time unfortunately then for Pot Stuff, and I think that's it, done and dusted then for this second outing here in qualifying. Unfortunately for Pot Stuff, he's come back to the pit lane to get himself back into the box. Then Fanjo is going a bit slowly out there. I'm not quite sure if Fanjo's had an issue. Then Nigel is down in P11, the championship contender. He's dropped down to P4 in the standings then behind his teammate of Favre. Let's see if he can get himself further up the order then, out on track. Then we've got Marvsky back out on track, same for Favre as well on his first attempt. And Nigel back in the pit lane, so he is coming back to the box then to sort himself out, then go again hopefully in the latter stages or the later stages of this session as well. Fanjo coming back to the pits as well. I think Fanjo then having a few, maybe he's just coming back to the pit lane. I think he's done his lap then. 27.4 then for the Red Bull driver as it stands. Then Mumford is back out on circuit though. Let's see what Mumford can do then. 27.5 for Mumford as it stands, but can he get himself an improvement enough to take some positions away then from those ahead of him? 3.5 tenths up on his time. That is looking very sprightly indeed then for the AlphaTauri as he goes through into sector 3 now as well. Then 4.5 minutes left of the session as well. Kiki has message retracted, so that's good. And Gordo has said there's time in that lap there as well for the Mercedes driver then, 28.0 as it stands for Gordo. Then can he get himself into the top 10? Here comes Mumford then. Can he get himself further up into the top 8? Up into P4 then for Mumford. 27.0 as well then. So 27.0 is collecting here in Saudi Arabia, it looks like. So far so good then for Mumford, then into P4 onto the second row of the grid right behind Kamara Racer, who is the one of the 3 in the 26s as it stands then. But we might see some more improvements then through the rest of the qualifying. 4 minutes left like I was saying, but we might see a few more attempts in qualifying in this in the next few runs. And Favre just starting a lap, then Marvsky coming around the final corner. Can he improve on 28.5 in the Aston Martin, then up to the line for the green machine? And he's crossed the line. He has gone P11, I should say, then, with a 7/10 improvement as well. That's pretty good. And he's up into P11, just outside the top 10 by, only by 3/1000ths of a second from Luke, that is. But good improvement then from Marsky then on this on his second outing here as well. Favre, unfortunately, has invalidated his time, so he's not going to be able to get himself a lap on the board in this session. Here comes Kamara Racer then starting off another lap then for the Alfa Romeo. Then we'll ride on board with the other Alfa Romeo then, as he's gone 2.5 faster on his out lap somehow, but I'm not quite sure that is correct. But yeah, there we go. So now into turn 2 we go for the Alfa Romeo, then trying to keep the pace on, then trying to get himself an improvement to take away that pole position if he can from the Ferrari of Mags into turn 4, making sure he just about gets it through there intact, that is. But so far so good then into sector 2, sector 1 I should say, then in through the curbs of death and chicanes of death, it looks like, as he's got himself through nicely indeed. Red Bull then just getting out of the way then of this charging Alfa Romeo, then purple in sector 1. He's gone 3.5 faster in sector 1. That is fantastic indeed from Kamara. That could be pole position worthy if he can keep the lap together as well. This is going to be fantastic as well. Mumford is retired in the pit lane. He is done and dusted. He's not going to be starting any higher than P4 in this Grand Prix. Let's go, says says Smithy, as Gordo said he's a bit cold. So that's bad news for Gordo. Hopefully he warms up then for the Grand Prix in 2 minutes' time. Into Sector 3 we go then for Kamara Race. I'm not quite sure what the delta was showing there, but let's see if he can improve on a 26.9. Can he take away that pole position? He needs to find 0.2 of a second over this whole lap then to take that pole position away from Max as we go into turn 27 then for the Alfa Romeo then for the final time, I think, in qualifying, because I don't think he's got time to go back round again. Then here comes Kamara up to the line. What can he do? Can he improve? Can he get himself on pole position? He can then with a 26.731 by 0.5 of a second. He's ahead of Mags as it stands then. Great lap time indeed. A great improvement as well then, as X Gamer has retired in the pit lane, I think. Unfortunately for X Gamer, then he is going to be starting from the back then of this grid as it stands, and as Kamara then on pole position as it stands as well. Then that is fantastic stuff indeed then from the Alfa Romeo driver. He's looking strong here in Jeddah as we've got Fandra then flying through sector 1 as well. Then good stuff indeed. And like I said, it's been a pretty good fight then for pole position in this qualifying so far. Here comes Fandra. Can he get himself in contention as well then as we go through into sector 2? Then 0.3 up on his time. That will put him in the range then of P7, I think it is, just ahead of Vessia. We might be able to see some more improvement as well through this lap as well. We're going to sector 2 now for the Red Bull car, into this very tight right-hander as well that we saw a few issues with as well in the last Grand Prix. As now into sector 2 we go, flying through then with DRS now enabled as well, then onto the second DRS straight as we go through towards the checker, well, not the checker flag, we're very near to the checker flag as well. Then Alfa Romeo just getting out of the way. Then into sector 3 we go once again for Fandra. Then let's see if he can get himself further up the timing sheets then as we go into the final sector, the final couple of corners then for his final run, as we've got a Ferrari then almost in the way. Then I think that was Ferrari just to get himself out of the range then of the Red Bull, flying through into the final corner then, and thankfully no harm done. Up the line then for Fangio, it's a 27.1. Then he has improved to P7 then in this in the qualifying. They didn't unfortunately get himself much more of a time then on the timing sheets as we saw in sector 1. Then here comes Mags, then he's starting off a lap. Then I think he was the Ferrari, unfortunately, that was potentially slightly in the way then of Fangio as we go through for Pot Stuff then into sector 2 as well. Now let's have a look and see what Pot Stuff is up to. I think we might have some more action further on ahead. Favre not set a time unfortunately on his he's unfortunately not got himself back around the circuit, unfortunately for Favre. So that is him done and dusted as well. Sweet MJP is 3.5 up then on his time. That would put him in the range of a 26s, but could potentially put him in the range of a front row here. Let's see what he can do up to the line. It's going to be good indeed, I think, from Sweet MJP up to the line. It's going to be a 26.8 there, puts himself P3 ahead of Pot Stuff as it stands as well. Then good stuff from Sweet MJP. Let's see what Pot Stuff can do. Can he respond? Can he get himself back on pole position though? We'll have to find out then. Up to the line then for Pot Stuff. He's coming back to the pit lane. Unfortunately, that is him done and dusted. Jenner has invalidated his time, so he's not going to be improving on P6 as it stands. Mags is going through into sector 3. We've got more action ahead as Nigel up into P8 then ahead of Vessia, but P9. Luke stays P10 then. Mr. Elite coming through the final corner then to finish off his next outing. I think Gordo's abandoned his time then, so stay on board with Mr. Elite then. Can he improve even further? Can he get himself in the top 10 up to P11? He stays P11 then. Here comes Mags then up into pole position then with a 26.458, and he has stolen away that pole position there with the best lap time right at the end of qualifying then to take that pole position by over 2.5 tenths then to Kamara Racer. That was a fantastic final lap then, I should say, then for Mags to take pole position here in Saudi Arabia then. Great stuff indeed. A fantastic qualifying then. Hopefully that leads on to the Grand Prix itself in a few moments time then, but we'll have a quick look at the classification then for the qualifying here in Jeddah then to set the grid for the 25 laps that are coming up very shortly. Oh, Gordo said he had an issue, then that is why he abandoned his lap time then. Unfortunately for him, Serious Mushroom said good evening and good luck to all then. There is your qualifying grid, or there is your grid I should say then for the 25 laps of Saudi Arabia coming up in just a jiffy. Then Mags P1, then Kamara in P2 on the front row of the grid, then good qualifying from him. Sweet MJP and Pot Stuff make up row 2, Mumford and Jitter then make up row 3, Fanjo and Nigel row 4, Vessia and Luke then row 5, then Mr. Elite and Marsky in P11 and P12, TK P13, Gordo P14, Kaz in P15, Farf didn't get time, and same for Reflection, Gamer and Dylan, who unfortunately had an incident at turn 4. Right, then that is, well, it's been a pretty epic qualifier to be fair. I need to breathe after that one, so we'll have a quick word from our lovely sponsors.
BoxBox Hub is an absolute essential for any Formula One fan, and the entire app with new widgets, statistics, localized race schedules, and countdowns, you name it. They even have support for Apple's new live activities feature with real-time updates during a race right on the lock screen, and honestly, some of the best looking widgets I've seen.
Right, then we are ready to get going then for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. 25 laps are due to unfold very, very shortly. Just waiting for the drivers to get their setup sorted and ready for the Grand Prix itself then. Of course, if you haven't checked out BoxBox already, then please do then. They are, of course, our lovely sponsors. And they, of course, you give you live updates of the Grand Prix as they're going along. It is F1 season, so it's good time to jump on board then. And of course, you can get some nice standings widgets and driver updates, that sort of thing, on your home screen and lock screen, etc. as well then. So feel free to check it out in the description as well then. And if you've got pennies left over, then check out the ALR Shop afterwards as well then. But here we go then. We have got ourselves a grid. We've got ourselves ready then for the Grand Prix, and we're getting ourselves lined up then on the formation lap for the start of this Grand Prix as well then. We've got a combination of tyres out there, it looks like. So we've got two drivers on the soft compound, then Fanjo in P7 on the soft in the Rebel, and Marsky in P12 in the Aston Martin, also on the soft compound tyres. Those are the only two then on the softs. Everybody else has opted for the mediums or the hards, with Dylan in P19 on the hard compound, Farf as well in P16. Same for Kaz in P15. Then we've got Bess here and Nigel then on the hard compounds, P9 and P8. Then Mumford in P5 on the hards, and our pole sitter of Mags also on the hard compound tyres as well. Then everybody else is on the medium compound tyre. Well, I'm not saying everybody else. There's only about eight or so of them. But those drivers who are not on those hard compound tyres or not on those soft compound tyres are on the medium compound tyres. So there you go then. Leading us through then is Mags, of course, taking pole position once again here in Jeddah this time. Let's see what the race is going to have unfolding for us, I suppose you could say, in this one as well then. Of course, we usually have quite an epic Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. We'll have to wait and see what it's going to be like here tonight then from Silver. But looking forward to this one then. Going to say already, far for driver of the day, says Kiki. We hope not, because we don't want him to be anywhere near the podium or the driver of the day then, because otherwise we have to do an interview with him. So there we go. But just getting ourselves lined up then on the grid then for the Grand Prix itself, as we go through into turn 26 and 27 then. Looks like it's a medium to hard strategy then was the one stop, that is, but of course you can opt for a two stop. I'm not quite sure it's the best strategy around here, but we have to wait and see. Might be some safety cars then to throw the strategy into the mix as well then, but we will wait and see how it unfolds. Hopefully it's nice and clean, especially for Smithy's sake, but there we go then. But Mags then lining us up on the grid then to get ourselves ready to get going for the 25 laps here in Jeddah, as we get ourselves all sorted then to start off the race. Dylan then is right at the back then, unfortunately, with that big smash in qualifying. Trying to get himself lined up on the grid then from P19. Can he salvage some points here in this Grand Prix? We will wait and see, as unfortunately for TK, he's parked in the wrong location there, so that is bad news indeed for TK, but we will wait and see if anybody else can get themselves sorted. Dylan then is lined up on the grid then, so we can get ourselves ready to get racing here, I think. I hope, but there we go then. Yes, Kaz has been disqualified from parking in the wrong location, so there we go then, as 5 red lights are on in Jeddah then, and I think we're going to be going, yes, hopefully. And away we go then for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, round 9 of Silver Season 7, and a good start then for the medium runners then compared to Mags on the hards, but he's still fended off then into turn 1 and 2. Kamara Racer is going through turns 3. There's a 3 wide then through turn 2 then, and somehow Kamara Racer holds them off. It looks like, anyway, just about then into turns 4 we go then, and Kamara Racer takes hold of P2 as it stands as well. Then we'll switch to the position changes because there's all sorts of action going down the back of the field. Nigel's lost out, then same for Luke. TK is out of the Grand Prix already as we go through into sector 1 then, and Potstuff has gone into the back of Kamara Racer then as well. God, that was a great start, wasn't it? Vandra's got a 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags, and I think overtaken under the safety car then, so I'm not quite sure what's going on there between Fandra and Jinnah then, but they can get that sorted after the safety car, virtual safety car only, because I'm not quite sure what happened there, but TK already out of the Grand Prix before we get to the end of lap 1. Virtual safety car has been deployed, and we'll have to wait before we get ourselves restarted in this one. Of course, it'll be much shorter than a normal safety car, but a bit of an odd one that then. I'm not quite sure what happened into a turn, it's turn 4 I think it was for TK, and it might have been that the dreaded inside curve, or inside wall I should say there, that can catch a lot of drivers out. Then into sector 3 we go I should say, as VSC still out there. Anyone can choose this opportunity to make a pit stop then under the yellow flags? I don't think so, because I think the VSC is about to go away. We'll have to wait and see if it catches anybody out there. Is anybody get a drive-through penalty for speeding under the VSC? We'll have to wait and see as well. Then this is going to be very treacherous indeed, especially around this circuit, trying to get yourself round as quickly as possible. VSC is staying out then for the time being then, as we complete that one. Into a pit, fastest lap then for Mags, then great stuff indeed. Into the pits comes Mumford though. Mumford is calling a day on the hard compound tyres, same for Gamer and for Farf. So they are into the box then for those, there's lots of drivers in the box, then Kaz and Luke also in the box as well. Then there's Carnage then for Kamara Racer, who's out of the Grand Prix at turn 3, and well, this is going very well, isn't it? And there's no safety car for that either. Oh yes, there is a safety car for that. It's not coming up on my screen there, but 2 drivers out then in the first 2 laps. And this is not going the way then that Smithy would like, I don't think. Unfortunately for Kamara Racer, I'm not sure if he just lost it on the curb there, but it seemed like putting the power down a bit too eagerly then, and spun the car around then into the wall and out of the Grand Prix, I should say. But there we go then. Safety car is deployed as we get ourselves through. Then of course this is good news for those who pitted under the VSC as well. Then they have now now will be able to catch themselves up then after the safety car bunches up the pack. But yes, interesting stuff indeed so far in this race. It's been first lap safety car basically. It's been yellow flags pretty much from the get-go, hasn't it? So there we go. There we are then. One job, Fanjo says. Serious matter, I'm not quite sure what that is. I don't know what I'm supposed to do there, said TK. But there we go. That is the race done and dusted for TK, unfortunately, and for Kamara Racer as well, who is out of the race, waiting for the leaders to catch up to the safety car queue. But we might see some pit stops under this safety car. We'll have to wait and see. We do expect safety cars around Jeddah. To be fair, it's a like I said, a very high-speed circuit with a wall right next to you pretty much every time you go through a corner. So it's it lends itself to safety cars, put it that way. And unfortunately for safety cars, they breed safety cars as well. Then. So safety cars breed safety cars. If you haven't heard that quote, now you have. But there you go. Then it is just the way that Jeddah is set up, I think there. But we haven't got pit stop then for Fanjo. Then Fanjo is in the box and he's on soft compound tyres. Then it's Fanjo. same for Marsden as well, so I think they're just deciding to get themselves off of those tyres as quickly as possible and onto something a bit better for the race duration, that is. They've got a nice sizable gap then to Mumford, who might be able to come out ahead of Mumford actually if they get their stops quickly done. And of course it depends on how quick their pits are as well, to be fair, but there we go. Mumford now coming down the main straight. I think he's going to be out ahead of Nigel and Gamer as well potentially as well, so we'll have to wait and see as they filter out the pit lane here. Where is Barbsky going to come out in relation to those who have pitted on the under the VSC, that is, as Fangio going off the circuit completely then at turn 2. Of course the pit lane there rejoins at turn 2, then Mumford is ahead now into the top 10 after making his stop as well then. So there we go then, the safety car now waiting to catch the queue up then as Kaz is in the pit lane there. He's all the way at the back there. I didn't see where Kaz was because he was that far back. I thought he was already in the train, to be fair, but unfortunately not so for Kaz. He is now back in the box then and coming back out to catch up to the safety car as well then. Right. So we can have a nice casual start then to this Grand Prix, as we've had Dylan up 11 places. That's a fantastic start from Dylan. Then from the back of the grid then to P8 already as it stands there. Gordon up 7 places as well. Mr. Lee up 5 places, 6 for Gamer as well, 4 for Reflection, 4 for Vessia as well. So there's quite a few movers and shakers in this one. Unfortunately, the Kamara Racer from P2 on the grid then, he had a shaky start then and a shaky lap 2, and unfortunately that was him out of the race at the exit of turn 3. TK we saw have the issue. I'm not quite sure if we didn't see it at all, to be fair, so we'll have to wait and see if there's going to be any reviews in the stewards room after that one. But yeah, unfortunately we didn't see what happened to TK as well then on the opening lap into turn 4, I believe. But there we go then. Right then, we can get ourselves hopefully racing very soon then. We're waiting for Kaz to catch up to the safety car, and we can get ourselves restarted here. But if you just joined us, then we're just having a leisurely start to this Grand Prix. We don't want to have any green flag racing. We just want to sit behind the safety car then for the 25 laps around here. So it might be a bit dull at this stage, but I'm pretty sure once the safety car goes into the pit lane, it will get a bit more spicy around Saudi Arabia as well then. So stay tuned. We're coming up with some more action then, but we'll have to wait for the safety car to go away first. But we'll have to. Well, I think it's crossed. It will be at the end of this lap, as it's been 2 laps then behind the safety car already then. So we'll wait and see. But so far, Bert Mylander has led more laps in this Grand Prix than anybody else at this stage. But we'll have to. Hopefully, he will go away, like I keep saying, and we can get some racing underway. But for the time being, we can just sit there, or for the Ferrari of Max, they can sit there and watch this lovely Aston Martin supercar flying around the Jeddah cornering circuit for the time being. But fingers crossed, I think we've got ourselves all caught up, I can say. We can get ourselves racing then here in Jeddah then for this one tonight now. So good stuff indeed. I think we're going to be back racing then at the end of this lap. So that will be on to lap 5 we go then. 20 laps will remain. This is good news for those who of course have not pitted, because their tyre life will be extended then on their first set of tyres. That is their first stint, as happened to Gamer then. Gamer's on the circuit, then maybe back of the grid and having a few issues then in the Red Bull car, unfortunately for Gamer, then dropping down the back of the field. He needs to catch up quickly then, because the safety car I believe will be in this lap then. So you're not quite sure what is going on then for the Red Bull driver, but he's having a few problems out there, it looks like. And yeah, I'm not quite sure what is going on there for Gamer, so he's having a few technical difficulties, it looks like, as well. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen with the safety car now. Hopefully it will come in anyway this lap then, so we can get ourselves racing once again then. But so far not so much. So right, we can just sit behind the safety car once again. I know it is coming in this lap then, so it's called it a day finally, and we can get ourselves back underway then for this Grand Prix. Safety car just coming around turn 25 then, getting himself turn 27 I should say, getting himself back into the pit lane. Mags then of course will restart this Grand Prix and get ourselves back underway very shortly indeed as well. So good stuff. Right then, we've got ourselves all caught up then. Mags then can drop the hammer whenever he likes, but he has to do it safely of course. Safety car is now in the box then, so he can decide to drop the hammer whenever he can now onto the main straight, I say, for lap 5. We're going to start off lap 5 very shortly, as taking it very leisurely indeed, and that is always just terrifying for me as a admin because it usually have more issues than later on later on in the restart. As here we go then down towards turn 1 then for the fifth time. As into turn 1 we go then, almost the Mercedes, they're getting themselves side by side, getting collected almost by each other as there's contact between the two Mercedes drivers. Then into turn 3, up into P3 goes Ginner, then he's chasing down the top 2. If he can hold on to them, that is the question, that is. But Potstuff then on the medium compound tyres trying to hold on to Mags as it stands as well. Marvsky and Mumford switching places then into turn 5 and 6 as well, as Marvsky going very wide then over the curve of death, that is. You don't want to go over that curve, that is very treacherous indeed. As Marvsky then dropping down the field, there's Farf and Reflection battling away. I'm not quite sure what Farf has tried there, because he's pushing the Alpine then all over the place. But into the hairpin we go then, side by side then, and I think Farf has got himself ahead then up into P12. Luke then trying to get himself through as well. Then he's on the medium compound tyre. Then after that unscheduled stop, then Marvsky is lost out to Kaz into turn 15 and 16 as well. Gamer has an issue there somewhere. He's not having a great time. He's lost out once again then, 24 seconds. I'm not quite sure if he made a pit stop under that restart race. As Potstuff, I think, almost clouting the wall then as well, and that might open the door then for Ginner to go for a move. They're down towards turn 26 and 27. There's Reflection out of the race as well then, as we go through into sector 3, and Alpine now out, and there's another safety car here. And blimey, that's how Gamer then get himself back in the order, as Mr. Elite and Gordo then just about switch places then into... No, they didn't switch places, unfortunately. I'm not quite sure what's going on between the two Mercedes, and we need to sort ourselves out then, as we get ourselves into what we're doing here. We get ourselves back into another safety car window, I suppose you could say. Yeah, safety car, hopefully we won't be out to the queue on this time, because we've got everyone already bunched up in the queue. Then into the pit comes Potstuff, then he's for today then already on the medium compound tyres. Same for Sweet 100p then, and Marvsky is also in the box as well then. Wing change for Potstuff. I think he did hit the wall then at the exit of, or into sector 3 at the exit of the chicane, and that has cost him a wing change as well. Then he's lost out to Sweet 100p then, who's down into P13. Gamer is carrying on, then he's on the soft compound tyres, I believe, as he comes out of the pit lane now as well then. Racing on the exit then, he's got himself out ahead of X-Gamer as well. Then Gamer, I think, might have to make another stop then in this race. 16 drivers remain then after 19 started. Then we've only done 6 laps so far. Well, we haven't done 6 laps even, to be fair. But so far it's looking like only 10 drivers will get themselves some points in this one, because you need to make sure you get in the top 10 to finish in the points paying positions. But yeah, there we go then. Going to be a long night for Serious Mushroom then, I think so. Yeah, it looks like it so far. Dylan is doing a great job. Then he's up 13 places then from this from the 6 laps that we've had. Well, 5.5 laps we've had then, and of course most of them have been behind the safety car, to be fair. So so far so good then for Dylan. Then he's getting himself back in the range and of some big points here tonight. But at the moment we're just getting ourselves through once again another safety car restart. I think I'm not quite sure if it'll be coming in this lap then, or if it will wait for another lap though. But unfortunately for Reflection, I think he came a cropper then at this chicane as well. Then this chicane into sector 3, where his car was in the wall. Then I'm not quite sure if he had a helping hand or not, but he was in the wall then at the exit of this chicane then, and thankfully for Marvsky as well. Marvsky was right behind him and just about avoided him as well in the Aston Martin. So good stuff indeed then. Right, we're not back underway then this lap, so we're going to have another lap around the another lap around the circuit under the safety car here. On to lap 7 we go. Yeah, you can. I don't know what you can do really. Just tell me what you had for dinner in the comments section whilst I try and ramble on for another lap behind the safety car here. As Vessia seems to be jumping around and he seems to be lagging quite a bit. Then Mr. Elite almost in the back of the Alfa Romeo, as there seems to be all sorts of issues. Then Sweet 100p is Kaz back in the pit lane. So Kaz has got a 5-second penalty as well for speeding in the pit lane. That is bad news for Kaz, as that will be added on to his next pit stop or to his race time if he finishes the race then without serving that penalty in the pit lane. Yeah, unfortunately Kaz, that speeding in the pit lane is bad news indeed. And there we go, burgers for Gordo, good stuff. So burgers and a Victoria sponge cake, that sounds like a pretty good dinner for me on a Monday night. Yeah, very good stuff indeed for Gordo. Then he's had some burgers, he's got himself fueled up for the race. He's gained 9 places at this stage of the race as well then, so good stuff so far. Let's see if he can hold on then, as we get ourselves back underway hopefully at the end of lap 7. Then on to lap 8 we'll go racing once again, I think, I hope. So fingers crossed at some point. But there we go then. As we'll have a look at we've looked at the position here, we'll look at the tyre compounds then for the drivers around us. As we've got the race leader, of course, the pole sitter, then Max then on the hard compound, Vessia on the hards as well in P3, Mr. Elite then and Gordo in the Mercedes, both of them in on the hard compound tyres, P4 and P5, then Dylan in P6 then on the hards as well. Mumford on fresher mediums, though of course he did pit on the first lap then under the VSC. Fanjo on fresher hards, then same for Nigel in P9 on the mediums. Favre in P10 then on the mediums as well, then Luke P5, P11 on the mediums as well. So there's quite a few, and then drivers are all behind have pitted under this safety car, so they've got much fresher tyres than what is Ginner doing. I think we can go side by side with the Ferrari. Technically that is illegal because new rules in F1 say you can't go alongside the car ahead under the safety car anymore because of Max Verstappen in 2020 or 2021 I think it was. But regardless of that, then we can get ourselves back underway hopefully. And I think the safety car is coming in this lap then, as we can get ourselves, yes it is coming in this lap now. So a very late call there from Bert Mylander, and then it was almost into the back of the Aston Martin goes Vessia, not paying attention under the safety car, and that is one rule we need to always abide by, because that can cause a few issues. But there we go then, we are going to get ourselves restarted then at this very late stage then of lap 7. Then it was a very late call then from Bert Mylander, but another very slow restart as well then, which is not good news because once again we are back underway then, as here we go then. It's very slow restart from Max, and we go down to turn 1, and that is inviting incident then into turn 1 as well, as we fly down into the next complex of corners. Then sector 1 then is underway then for lap 8. Then Potstuff getting himself past Gamer, then Gamer and Potstuff, all sorts of battling going on there in the background as Potstuff has spun around at turn 1. He's got himself back underway, but unfortunately then he's not having a good time out there in the Alpine, and he's 5 seconds back from the grid then as it stands then. Gordo and Mr. Elite switching places. Mr. Elite is off the circuit, that is why, and he has dropped down into P7 as well then behind Mumford and behind Dylan. Here comes Fanjo then looking to try and make a move as well, as there's Nigel then down the inside, and Mr. Elite's being swamped here then as we go through the hairpin. As almost what's going on there for Nigel, then Nigel's almost lost the car going through there as well. Then he's lost out to his teammate. 5-second penalty for Mumford for gaining a corner cutting and gaining a place then. Alright, well that'll have to be reviewed after the Grand Prix as well, but I think that was because of the rejoin then from Mr. Elite, so that will of course be removed then if that sort of thing is going to be happening again. But there we go then, as Kaz and Gamer then Gamer's lost his front wing as well then, so Gamer has been involved in an incident there, and I think that was what happened with Potstuff into turn 1, as he clouted the wall then as Gamer as well. Thankfully he's not caused himself any further damage, and there's no further safety cars thankfully onto lap 8, that is, as Fandra's got himself past Mumford then into the final turn, then onto lap 8 or lap 9 or so we go, as DRS not yet enabled then as we go past into P2 goes Vessia, then down the outside of Ginner and into turn 2. He's got the position, he's got the inside now as he keeps the position this time as well, then up into P2 for Vessia, then good stuff indeed. Dylan's got himself past Gordo up into P4, and now chasing down the podium places as well then as we go into sector 1. But once again then Gamer is back in the pit, then onto the set of hard compound tyres, then a wing change as well then for Gamer. I think after that front wing has disappeared after the restart of that safety car as well. Nigel off the circuit then in the Haas, then he's come back on the circuit very dangerously as well then with Luke right in front of him, and thankfully for Luke, then he's stayed in one piece then, as there's contact between Luke and has got into the Williams goes Mr. Elite as well. Then there's another safety car here, and Sweet Enterprise got a 5-second penalty for collision with Mr. Elite, I think that was. Mr. Elite, I don't think had anything to do with that. He went round the corner and there was a Williams car stranded in front of him there. Luke, I think, was having a few issues then with Nigel then into the hairpin, and they both made contact and then both spun around then, and unfortunately for Luke that has cost him a front wing. It's cost the Mr. Elite as well, I think, a front wing as well. This is good timing, I suppose, for the medium runners. They could pit for the hard compound tyres and go to the end of the Grand Prix, I think. Gamer is going to be back into the queue as well then, if he can get himself back round then quickly enough to catch up to the safety car pack then. But another safety car lap 9 then of 25 then. We're going to get through this race very quickly indeed. That's sarcasm if you didn't get that one, but there we go. So unfortunately Mr. Elite then. He's got to get himself into the box then to sort out that front wing. Gordo might be into the box as well, then, so it might be a bit of a double stack then between the Mercedes team. It's going to be tight indeed between the pit entry as well. It looks like everyone into the pits apart from Fanjo and Nigel. So they have stayed out then. I'm not quite sure that is the best call then for the Red Bull and for the Haas, but we'll wait and see. Where is Mr. Elite? He's unfortunately stuck behind his teammate then, so he's on to a set of hard compound tires after they changed that front wing. But he is going to be coming back out in P15. As it stands then, Mr. Elite back out of the pit lane then, and away he goes. Out of the pits comes everybody else then. Everybody's onto a fresh set of tyres apart from well, actually, Marvsky, I didn't see this. Marvsky and Kaz and Potstuff have all stayed out as well then. So they are all carrying on then on their slightly older tyres, but not too old at this stage, that is. And out of the box there comes Sweet Andrew P as well. The Sweet Andrew P must have been, not quite sure what happened to Sweet Andrew P. He's down the order somehow. I'm quite confused what was going on, to be fair. So there we go then. But to be fair, it's been a quite confusing start to this race as well. So yeah, it's Jeddah for you really. In Grand Prix racing, it is chaos. So there we go then. Lucky to have 16 drivers still in the race, to be fair, at lap 10. But I hope we can stick with 16 for the rest of the Grand Prix. But based on the opening third of this Grand Prix, I'm not sure that's going to be the case. But we'll wait and see. So out in front then, Fandro leads the way then on the hard compound tyres. 7 laps old then for the Red Bull. Medium tyres for Nigel, then 7 laps old as well. Then Marvsky on 4 lap old mediums in P3. Kaz on 4 lap old hards in P4. Potstuff 4 lap old hard, sorry, in P5 as well then. And we've got fresh tyres for everybody behind, who is from P6 down to P16 then. So they're going to be very quick indeed on their new tyres as well then. So interesting stuff indeed as well. Then we'll have to wait and see what's going to be next on the cards then for the rest of this Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. But yeah, there we're listening. Yeah, very nice night sky here in Jeddah. Then it's fantastic stuff indeed. Kaz is in the pit lane, so Kaz is getting out of the way then of those who have already pitted. He's got another 5-second limit speeding in the pit lane. Unfortunately, Kaz, that is bad news indeed. Sweet MP is caught up to the back of the queue now as well. Then Kaz there is, I think, serving his previous 5-second penalty, but unfortunately he's got himself another one that will be added to his race time or to his next pit stop then. So there we go then. We've got 4 drivers then who have 4 drivers who have not pitted under this safety car. They've had opportunity to pit under the other previous safety cars, that is. But so far they are carrying on then on this current tyre. Everybody else from Mags then in P5 down to P16 then is on a fresh set. So they have fitted a new set of tyres then under this safety car as well then. So let's see how the race is going to unfold there from here. I think we'll be underway at the end of lap 11. Kiki said this is more entertaining than the real race. To be fair, I think every league race is more entertaining than the real race. So yeah, there we go. To be fair, I missed the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix on Saturday. So if it was interesting, then I missed the only good race I think of the season. To be fair, so it seems like it is going to follow in the footsteps of F1 of the 2023 season, where it was one person doing everything. I think that was Red Bull driver, if memory serves me correctly. And I think, to be fair, if Red Bull carry on the way they are this season, I think Max can get every single win in the whole calendar, unless anything goes wrong for his car. But I hope not. But hopefully we can get the season wrapped up then in real life F1 very quickly indeed, then and crack on to season F1 and hopefully that will be better. But right then we can get ourselves. I'm not going to get ourselves restarted because Kaz is not going up to the safety car queue yet. It might be another late call here for the drivers. Then we'll have to wait and see then as we go through into turn 25 now. And yeah, we're going to have another lap around the safety car as well then because of Kaz. So we'll have to wait and see when we're going to get ourselves restarted here. But so far we are just cruising around at half speed, not even half speed. as we get ourselves through the Grand Prix then under yellow flag for the most part, to be fair. I think we've had more, we've got more action in the pit lane. Yes, we do. Yep, it's Gamer then into the box then for the Red Bull driver then, as Kaz is also back in the pit lane now as well. So once again, these two are going to be holding us up then for the restart of the Grand Prix. I think the safety car is going to be coming in this lap regardless now, because we've done 3 laps behind the safety car on this one. So we will get ourselves back underway on at the end of lap 12, then on to lap 13. Green flag running will resume, and yeah, hopefully we can get to the end of the Grand Prix from here. But something tells me I'm going to be seeing Burt Mylander again for some reason. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But there we go then. So far we have got 16 drivers remaining. Unfortunately for TK out on lap 1, Kamara Racer out on lap 2, and Reflection out on lap that was. I think it was lap 8 or lap 9 the safety car came out. So unfortunately that is this is the course from the third safety car. And we had a VSC as well. So yeah, interesting stuff so far in Silver. This has been a chaotic Grand Prix, to say the least. But what do you expect from Jeddah then? That is what we that's what we love from Jeddah as well. Of course, we have chaos in Jeddah. That is just a thing of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Well, not really in real life. It was more a sleepy Grand Prix, to be fair. But this one, league racing, it is not the case. Not usually the case anyway. So we'll have to wait and see when we get ourselves restarted then. And I think, like I said, safety car will be coming in at the end of this lap, regardless now as well. Then, so we can get ourselves back underway. Then, Cars and Game going for a 10 stopper, says Kiki. Have a look at the stops as well, shall we then? So we can see there's four stops for Game and then 5 for Cars. The safety car coming in this lap now, as it has got fed up then of waiting for the drivers around as we get ourselves back underway, thankfully. So now Fangio then will lead us away then for the restart of this Grand Prix. So it's a different car now leading us away then for the restart. We'll have to wait and see what he's going to do then on this restart as well then, as we get ourselves all bunched up then, waiting for that safety car firstly to get himself into the pit lane and out of the way, and waiting for the Red Bull to drop the hammer and go like the clappers, as or go like the chappers, or somebody we should say. But there we go then. Here we go into turn 27 then, waiting then for Fangio to get ourselves back underway then for this Grand Prix then. I'm not quite sure what he's going to do then in terms of going to the line or what now. But he has gone. I think he's gone very early on, much earlier on compared to Mags, as we go through into lap 13 now, as Farf and Gordo switching places then into onto the main straight there. Not quite sure what's going on there, and Dylan now is trying to line up a move then into turn 1. Can he go down the inside of both of them? Not quite. Then he stays behind and thinks better of it, as I think it was probably very safe indeed. And Sweet and Repeat and Gamer's battling away then into turns 1 and 2, and Gamer then I think has got himself ahead now of the McLaren just about. Yes, he has. Up into P14 then. Kaz has dropped down the order. Unfortunately, Kaz not a good restart then for the Ferrari driver out in front then. Fangio is miles over the curbs then, as Potstaff has got himself through and past Marvsky then. Same for Max as well. Then here comes Vessia down the inside. He's got himself through as well. Then here comes Ginner now, his teammate. Can he get himself through on his Aston Martin reserve friend, I suppose you could say, friend. I'm not quite sure if that's the right term. Teammate, friend. I think that's something from in between us. But there we go then. Ginner is now. There's another crash for Potstaff as well. Then this could be another safety car, to be fair. Yes, it is. And there we go then. Lap 13. We've only had one lap of. I'm just yeah. I'm not giving up, but I'm just yeah. There we go. Right, then another safety car is that. And we can wait once again then for the safety car to catch the rest of the pack up then. Potstaff is the next driver to retire and out of the race then. I think that was in sector 2. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, we've got our 4th safety car now, and here we are. Right, so it looks like 10 stoppers on the cards then from for most of the drivers then, as we go into the pit lane then for Fangio. Then is Nigel going to come in as well. Nigel stays out on the 11 lap old medium contact car. I'm not quite sure if that's the best strategy then, but Max then carries on. Same for Vessia, same for Far. Hitler carried on as well on the car, same for Dylan, same for Mystery Elite as well. Then Gamer carries on, same for Sweet MGP, and Breathe. So there we go then. Everybody then runs back. Then Mumford, Luke and Gordo and Kaz is all in the pit lane. And was left the session then, unfortunately got that out of the Grand Prix then at lap 13. So right there we can hopefully carry on then to the next phase of the race. And once again we are stuck behind the safety car again. I did curse it, didn't I? Because I said that I thought that I would be seeing Bert Manning again in the race at the end of the last safety car. And I was right. So there we go. So yeah, here we are then. Safety car is now being led by Nigel, who was unfortunately decided not to stop then at this stage of the. He has stopped at one point, but he's only done one stop then, unlike everybody else who's done 10. And unfortunately for Nigel, then he is going to be a bit of a sitting duck then, I think, for the likes of Mags, then Vessia, Favre, his teammate, then Ginner, then in P5. Everybody, to be fair, is already on much fresher tyres than compared to Nigel, and I think that might be the wrong call then from the Haas driver, unfortunately. Then, so we'll have to wait and see if he's going to come into the box then, and what he's going to do then at the next phase of the race then. But I think he will start to, he will struggle then on the restart compared to those around him, or compared to those behind him at this stage. But we'll have to see how it unfolds then onto lap 15. And fingers crossed we can get some green flag racing in here at some point. I think we're definitely going to have 2 green flag laps at the end, with lap 24 and 25. Because safety car didn't come out during those laps. Yeah, fingers crossed we can get to lap 24 and 25 then with more than 10 races. That is. We'll have to wait and see. There we go then. Gordo was having great fun out there, he said, so that is very good stuff indeed from Gordo. He's on the soft compound tyres now. I'm not quite sure if they're going to get to the end of the Grand Prix from here. It might be a bit of a stretch for the Mercedes team. Same for Luke and Kaz as well then. Safety car is not coming in just yet. Then we're going to have another lap, then lap 15 or 16? Lap 15 I think now. As Tango said that you sure it will just be safety car full stop. I don't know what's going on. So yeah, but nobody on there really. So safety car full stop. I think, to be fair, I think it means the whole race, to be fair. So yeah, potentially. So far, I think we've had about of green flag running, and maybe not that much. That's pretty optimistic having the 4 laps so far. But there we are. We have hopefully got ourselves back on the way then at the restart of this on this safety car. At the end of this lap, we will have 10 laps of racing, hopefully, to go. And fingers crossed, the drivers then can just keep it clean and keep them out of the walls. But yeah, that being said, yeah, we'll have to wait and see if that can be managed. But there we go. Is there a limit on safety classes? Yeah, I think we're going to be looking at that. I think we've got one more left, so potentially. Yeah, at this stage, I think we're going to have a few more drivers then who will have to depart from this race then very early on if we're going to have another safety car. But at this rate, I wouldn't doubt it. So there we go. So yeah, it's yeah. Oh well, it's Saudi Arabia for you then. That's league racing in Saudi Arabia. It's usually a word beginning with S and then a word beginning with show. So there we go. Right then, we have got I think safety car coming in this lap. Then we will hopefully get ourselves resumed and ready to get going once again. Compound tyres then for Gordo, for Luke and for Kaz. They will be very quick on the restart. Then Nigel then I think will be very slow on the restart, unfortunately, because he's on very old medium compound tyres. Not quite sure if he's holding out for the 5th safety car, but I'm not quite sure the strategy at this stage has worked out in his favour then. But Mylander, they're going through turn 27. They're casually cruising away back to the pit lane for his 4th outing, and we will get ourselves restarted once again then for this lovely Grand Prix. Here we go. On to lap 20. Not that far ahead. On to lap 16 we'll go. As once again Nigel is taking a very slow restart. It's probably actually better to go early at this stage because you catch everybody out at this rate because nobody's expecting it. As away we go then for the Haas. Then he's got himself started, and away we go then for lap 16. Yellow flags already being waved as down the inside of turn 1 goes Mags, then on Vessia. Then he's got the outside now for turn 2. Can he hold it on traction then ahead of the Alfa Romeo? Then yes he can. There's more action for Dylan down the back of the field. Then he's gone round and I think he's got himself his wing is intact then, but he's had a spin as Gamer then has dropped down, has got himself up to P7, I should say, then past Sweet MP. Both the Red Bulls now sandwiching that McLaren then as they go into Sector 1 now. All over the curb, so is Mr. Elite, then he's struggling then I think with rear wing damage as we go towards the hairpin now as well. Then Mr. Elite then I think he's probably better off just getting out of the way then, as Nigel has lost the lead then oh dear, there's contact between Nigel and the Ferrari then as we go through the hairpin there, and I'm not quite sure what Nigel was fighting there, because he was that Ferrari is going to be flying through on those much fresher tyres, I should say. Then this is where I think we might see Nigel then falling foul to those older medium compound tyres. As here comes Ginner now all over the back of the Haas as well then into Sector 2, trying to get himself through as quickly as possible then on the Haas bit, but not the opportune place to make a move then, unfortunately, as Nigel holds on to P3 for the time being. Then we go on to lap 16 at the end of this one. Hopefully we can get a one lap of green flag running then under our belts as we go down the inside then on board with Ginner then into turn 27 then on the traction on the grip. Then he's got so much braking power then compared to Nigel on the old medium compound tyres. Then he's got himself through then up into P3, Vessia then up into P4, then getting himself past the Haas as well. Then Gaiman then comes next in P6 then, but can he get a move into turn 1? There's Vessia, it's Vessia going for a move into turn 1 there, but I got it wrong there. He's not got himself through then. Marvsky and Luke battling away, then Mumford up into P11 as well, then up into the top 10 is Gordo as well on the soft compound tyres, looking strong so far. Then Dylan is catching up to the back of the pack, and he's on the back of Kaz now as well, then trying to get himself back in the point 10 positions then in this Grand Prix. There's still a few laps to go then. It's not all done and dusted, thankfully, because we've had so many safety cars at this stage of the race. There we go. Fanjo and Mr. Elite switching places there. Mr. Elite struggling with rear wing damage, he said, so hopefully he can get himself round the circuit then safely, that is, because that could be another safety car looming then if he goes off in a big way then for the Mercedes driver. He's now got his teammate all over the back of him as well then into the Sector 2 chicane. Then Mr. Elite I think is just going to have to try and get himself out of the way then without causing any issues then, as here comes Gordo then. There's a bit of a lag spike there as well. Mumford and Gordo switching places then into Sector 2 we go, and there's a Mercedes involved as well then into Sector 2 we go as well. Around the outside goes Mumford, and Mumford there has lost out to Mr. Elite and Gordo as well then into the chicane in Sector 3 then, and there's a Williams coming through then of Luke into P11. Contact between the AlphaTauri and the Williams as well then as we go through, as Gamer has got himself past Nigel. Now Nigel is really having a bit of trouble out there on those old medium compound tyres. I'm not quite sure why he hasn't come in the pit lane just yet then to get off those tyres, but he's carrying on still here in this race then. Sweet MP is next to line up a move then into turn 1 then. Nigel is trying to cover him off there, but Gamer is ahead of them both into turn 1. And Nigel make contact into turn 2 there, and again once again rubbing is not racing as Sweet Repeat takes the place there, but I think Nigel then on those old medium compound tyres is really struggling out there now as over the curves he goes then. Vander is next to come up to the back of the Haas as well then, and Nigel is going to be out the points then before he even makes a pit stop at this rate, as there's all sorts of battling then. I think that was Fanjo and Nigel already into Sector 1 then. Fanjo trying to go for the switch and move as Vessia has got himself past Farf. There's yellow flags for Mr. Elite, and Mr. Elite had an issue. I think he's dropped off then after that rear wing damage and has caused him a few problems then. Farf now up into P3, then trying to get himself past Vessia now for P3 into the podium places goes Farf, which is bad news because that would be an interview for the Haas driver, which I don't want to do, especially after this race. There we go then. Right then, so I think we've actually had quite a few laps of green flag racing here, which has been fantastic. I don't want to curse it, but I think I already have now, to be fair. So there we go then. Gamer, going wide then at the Sector 3 chicane then. That will be very costly indeed, because now Sweet MP is all over the back of the Rebel car into Sector 3. Favre now lining up a move on Ginner then into turn 27. He's got the position, he's up into P2 and ahead now of the Aston Martin, who's sliding his way through turn 27 as well. Then DRS I think has been enabled, I didn't see it, but now Vessia then is going through as well then. I'm not quite sure what is going on between the Alfa Romeo then and the Aston Martin there into turn 1 then. It's Favre then on the outside. Then there's contact between Favre and Gamer as well. Then Gamer's now into the podium places, but Favre has been spun out there and back underway then he goes, but he's lost out then to his teammate Nigel, and Luke then battling away through in turn 4. That's not the place to go side by side there, and there's contact and there's more contact, and Luke is out of the race, and that's going to be another safety car surely. And I think we've had that safety car limit now, I think, which is ironic because Luke was talking about that in the comment section. But yeah, they looked like there was connection issues there for sure, as Luke then and Nigel then coming together then on those old medium compound tyres for Nigel. I'm not quite sure if he's holding out for the safety car or not, but I don't know if they will even go to the end from here. Kaz and Mr. Elite, Kaz and Marvsky then switching places. Marvsky's got a front wing damage then, not quite sure where that happened or whether it was involved in that incident as well. Then Kaz trying to get himself into the points paying positions. Dylan now all over the back of Nigel as well for P10, the final points paying position as well here, as I think it's left the DRS and trying to get himself through then into sector 3 then, as Moby is backed off then, has Dylan then trying to think about his overtakes, then trying to get himself into the top 10 once again then, as we go through into sector 3 now as well. Then out in front then we've got Gamer and Vessia then switching places then into turn 27, then he's gone for the move, then has Gamer then up into P2. Jinner has lost out. He's on the hard compound tyres there is Jinner, so potentially could phase back in this race. Dylan and Nigel switching places then into turn 27. Now the McLaren ahead into the points then for Dylan as well. Down the inside goes Banjo and Gamer as well, battling away with Vessia, then into turn 1 and 2. In the background then we've got Banjo then battling with Sweet MP, Gamer and Vessia carrying on their battle then down towards turn 4. And Gamer stays ahead then this time, as he's lost a bit of traction and a bit of time, and then on the exit of turn 4 now as well, the turn 5 I should say, as they are really heating up here as well. Then we've had I think 5 laps without a green flag running. That's really pretty good so far, as Marvsky's in the pit lane. He's on soft compound tyres and potentially can go for the fastest lap point for the Aston Martin team. Then Nigel picks up a 3-second penalty. I'm not quite sure what Nigel's race is how it's unfolding here. I think he should have pit under the safety car previously, as he is now out of the points then, and now has got the penalty then to add to his misery, unfortunately, for the Haas driver. Then Gamer has got himself into P2, but Vessia, Jinner and Fanjo might have something to say about that as well then, as we go through sector 2 now onto in lap 20. Luke has left the session then. I think Luke is out of the race then. And there we go. So far, I think we've done the safety car thing. So that's probably why it didn't come out then for the incident between Luke and Nigel. But yeah, watching that on the screen, and there was all sorts of lag coming through that corner, then especially going to go side by side through turn 4. I think that was a very unwise place to try and make an overtake, put it that way. But there we go. Then onto the main straight once again. Then here comes Jinner, here comes Banjo, here comes Vessia then for that P3. Jinner and Banjo then are hitting each other through the straight, and Jinner then is going very wide then through turns 2 and 3. Then he's held on to the place just about then, but I'm not quite sure what was going on there, as Vessia then has got himself back up into P2, then back into the lead of this group now. Of course, the 4.6 seconds gap then to Mags then, who was checked out in the distance there and looking very comfortable indeed. Then if he can go to the end of the Grand Prix from here, I think he'll be very happy indeed. Equans has put a winking Alonso face there. I'm not quite sure I'm not sure if that's appropriate at this stage of the race then, because a lot of people are I think a lot of people are very unhappy with how this race is unfolding, but I'm not. I think I'm having to just make the most of it, unfortunately. But there we go then. So there we are then. Jinner has used a lot of ERS then. He's red light flashing then on the back of that Aston Martin then. Gamer then all over the back of Vessia, and then driver of the day poll is out then. Choose your driver then. Here it is. Mags, Vessia, Jinner or Gordo are your candidates for driver of the day. We'll have a quick look at the position changes as well, as there you can see then Gamer's up 15 places, then Vessia up 7 as well, Gordo up 7 places, Far up 7 places, Dylan up 9 places. Yeah, you can't help but laugh, to be fair, at this stage, but there we are. Here we go then, as Jinner is going to line up and move down the inside of Gamer, then into turn 27, not quite then for the Aston Martin. Now Fanjo is going to line up a move as well then, I think, as once again these two are going to resume their battle of going wheel banging down the main straight. Fanjo has got himself past the Rebel then into P4 for the time being, and there's more contact further ahead, and Jinner has dived down the inside of Fanjo into turn 3, and Vessia's got a 3-second penalty then for corner cutting. Unfortunately, I think that might be reviewed if he was pushed off the surface, I think. And Jinner is now going through at turn 4 as well then, and there's all sorts of action going on here. We're not quite sure what is going on between Fanjo and Jinner. They don't seem to be best friends out there, put it that way, as Sweet Andrew B has taken the opportunity to go through on Fanjo as well, then up into P5 then from the McLaren driver, and Fanjo dropping down the places, and unfortunately then he's had a bit of a ding-dong battle then with Jinner then, and yeah, oh God, it's just, lap 22 then of 25. I think we've had a pretty epic final third of this race, and we've been racing, to be fair, since lap 15, I think. On to lap 16, it was the safety car restart, so we've had since lap 16 up to 22, then I've probably cursed it, we're going to have a safety car now. But there we go. But like I was saying, it's been pretty epic so far, as yeah, there we go then. But keeping it clean then is going to be the paramount idea for the finish. This is, but we've got to get ourselves to the checkered flag first. Is the most important thing then. So currently it's looking like Mags is going to be taking the win here in Jeddah then very comfortably indeed, as we go into turn 27 then to finish off lap 22. As into turn 27 we go very nicely indeed. Then Gino, I think not Gino, sorry, but Bethel then might have to move then for P2 once again then, as Gamers try to cover up the move. And there's contact again between Gamer and Vessia this time, as we go into turn 1 now. Down the inside, Gino shapes for a move there, but not quite then. There's contact between the Alfa Romeo and the Red Bull, and they're all bunching up behind Gamer as well here, as we go through into turn 4 then, as I'm not quite sure what Gino is trying to do there, because he's shaping for moving to turn 4, and I think if you're going to dive it through there, you're going to end up in an incident for sure, I'm afraid. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there we are. So far, so good. Then out in front, then Gamer from Marco really chase, and that could open the door then for Vessia potentially. Then can he get a move around the outside into the hairpin? Vessia, not Vessia, so Gamer cuts across aggressively. Then Mumford then trying to go around the outside of Gorda, then into P7. Then can he do it? Then can he hold on? He can as well, I think, just about. This is the fight for the top 9. On top one, from P2 down to P9 at the moment. It could be anybody's game to play for, and it probably will end in a horror show. Yeah, I suppose that after the horror show we've had so far this race, we've just got to deal with it. As Jenner then going down the inside of Vessia, then Vessia loses out to the Aston Martin driver, then up into P3 goes Jenner then. Again, very aggressive moves once again, and ERS lights flashing away then for the Aston Martin and for the Alfa Romeo. Can he make a move then into turn 27? There's almost contact between the Red Bull then and the Aston Martin. We go round the corner and on to lap 24, the penultimate lap of the race. Then this is where I think it's going to get a bit feisty. Look at that, there's all sorts of cars there. Dylan could be in for a great spot here if he can hold on, but I'm not quite sure if Jinner can hold on then into, there's contact between Sweet MGP and Jinner then into the first corner, and Jinner has gone off the circuit as well. Then he's got a 3-second penalty for corner cutting. Sweet MGP has retired then from the race. Dylan has got himself up into P9 then with that, yeah, there is Sweet MGP's car then stricken at the entry to turn 1. Jinner has dropped down to P7, then Vessia and Mumford switching places as well now. Gordo is in the fight as well, then Jinner has lost out to Favre. Jinner's got front wing damage now as well. Fangio picks up a 5-second penalty for speeding, well not speeding, sorry, for passing under yellow flag again, and it's yeah. There we go then. Vessia and Favre switching places there through the hairpin there. Vessia trying to hold on to that position there, but Favre then powering through then on the medium compound tyres. I think he's got the move then. He's up into P6 now and has the position then on the Alfa Romeo. Then Gordo up into P5, then looking strong so far in P5 and as well. I think he might get a position as well from Fangio with that penalty as well for the Red Bull driver. Yeah, good stuff indeed. We'll have some more action here onto the final lap then. 24 of 25 is just about to be completed as we get to the end of the Grand Prix here. Yeah, here we go then for Gamer, going down the inside of his teammate then into the final turn, but he's gone very wide then, very deep as well, and that could open the door for Mumford as well now. Mumford there is looking to line up a move then potentially for the podium places then on merit as well then, because of course that penalty for Fangio will demote him off the podium as it stands. Into turn 1 we go then. Everyone's being sensible out there for the first time in this race, I think. So good stuff as Mumford then is slotting himself into P4 then. Out in front then Mags has almost got 11-second lead then to Fangio, which is been incredible after the we've only done about 10 laps, or I think about 12 laps of green flag running at this stage, so far so good for Mags. He's just having a casual race out there as Fangio, it's Gamer, gone over the curbs then and trying to rejoin then. He's rejoined unsafely as well then. That has cost Vessia a penalty again. Gamer's spun the car and he's off the circuit then. He's lost out to Jinner. Mr. Elite coming through. I'm not quite sure if he'll catch up in time, Mr. Elite then is going to get himself past, I think, eventually past the Red Bull driver as well, and looking back at the point then position. Unfortunately, there's a few drivers struggling out there, I think, with wing damage as well, the likes of Jinner and the likes of X Gamer as well now. But here we go. Then Gordo and Farf are switching places as well. Then into here we go. Then into sector 2. Then Gordo is on the soft compound tyres, of course. Remember, Gamer picks up a 3-second penalty, unfortunately, for his troubles out there. As Mr. Elite has got himself through. Then into P9. Then good stuff from Mr. Elite. Then soldering on in this Grand Prix. Here comes Gordo. Then on the charge. Gordo could be lining up a move for a podium place here potentially. Let's see what he can do as we go into turn. We need to go and see what the race leader there, because Mags then has won the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix with a fantastic race indeed. Then back to this battle here as well then, because we've got Mumford and Gordo switching places, battling side by side. Mumford takes P2, Gordo takes P3, Dylan takes P4, Farf P5, then Fanjo in P6, then Vessia P7, Jenner in P8. I think in the end then Mr. Elite might get a couple of places there after the penalties then for drivers around the race. Stays P9, Kaz in P10, Gamer in P11, then Marsky I think will finish in P12, and Nigel, who got the fastest lap point. There was Glocks as well, though I'm not quite sure why Nigel didn't go for the fastest lap point there, because he was, unless he's going for it now, but he's not got much ERS to play with there, unfortunately, for the Haas driver then. So we across the line then for Marsky and for Nigel then in P12 and P13, and those are your only finishes then. I think Nigel does get the fastest lap point then on that final lap as well. So fair play to Nigel then for soldering on in this Grand Prix, but unfortunately, like I said, that was a bit of a mess, but there we are. Oh, fantastic. Right, we've got to the end of the Grand Prix now. We can hopefully get some interviews underway very shortly indeed, but we'll run through the classification then for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix for Silver Season 7, Round 9. Blimey, that was chaotic, to say the least. But we did get to the end of the race eventually. There is your podium sitters then. It is Mags then on the top step. A very comfortable win in the end, with Mumford in P2 and Gordo in P3. But we might have some more issues then to be looked at after the race after that one. But great stuff indeed. This is mental, says I think it meant mental, but there we go. So there are the podium sitters then celebrating away. Then I think, like I said, there'll be some more activity than in the stewards room tonight. But there we go. As Nigel has left the session, unfortunately, he did get himself the fastest lap point on the final lap there as well. Then Mags takes the win here in Saudi Arabia. Then Mumford P2, Gordo in P3, Dylan in P4 after recovering twice then in that race. Farf in P5, then Fanjo in P6, Vessia P7, Jinner in P8, then Mr. Elite P9 in the end. Good stuff from him. Kaz does round off the top 10. Gamer just outside the top 10 in P11, then Marvsky in P12, Nigel P13 with the fastest lap point was the last finisher of this race, as 300p, Luke, Potstuff, Reflection, Kamara and TK all retired at various stages of the race. Well, we'll start off with our pole sitter and our race winner then of Mags. Mags, a fantastic race from you in the end. Then it was a safety car galore then in the first half, pretty much, or maybe more than the first half really. But from lap 16 onwards, you just you cruised through the field on your fresh mediums and disappeared off in the distance.
The piss felt really good, to be honest with you. I actually did no practice at all. Maybe did one lap with Ellen just before, and I was happy with my pole lap. The setup felt really nice. Traction felt good. It felt really glued. I was just felt like I could just be comfortable, and I felt like I was doing every wrist lap like a time trial lap. Still, I was just flying it, but the safety cars were an absolute disgrace. Like I'm actually disappointed because this league's obviously been really good, like with a standard and safety cars and stuff. But 4 safety cars and especially like 9 laps, I don't even think DRS was activated until the second half of the race, which is just madness.
Welcome to Jeddah, mate. But there you go. So yeah, first time. No, a good race from yourself then in the end. And of course, in the final stages, we just cruising around then and having a great Monday night drive, or just were you just focusing on what was going on around or further down the order, I suppose.
No, well, I just knew I think every time I know I was out in front, so it's a lot easier to drive when you have no one in front of you. But I was breaking DRS every chance I could, and then once I did get behind the people, I just knew I had the piss. I had to just bide me time, and my clean overtakes dodged the madness, and I managed to do that. And then once I was out in front, then I was just like, I don't think anybody's going to catch me, even though I was chatting to my brother. He was like kind of like engineering, just kind of saying what people's tires were on, and they were like on the same as mine. So I was like, well, the piss I'm going, they're not going to catch me, and I think I ended up winning by like over 10 seconds or something. So I'm definitely chuffed with that result.
Yeah, you had time to have a bit of a cup of tea or something during that race, but very good win once again then for yourself and the Ferrari team. Congratulations then to Mags, then the race winner here in Saudi Arabia. Then I'm not quite. I think we've got Mumford then. Mumford in P2 in the end. Mumford, well, did you see that coming in that race, or what was your plan then from the beginning?
Um, well, I got damage on lap 1, so it was I was already at the back, and then obviously we had all the safety cars, which was quite boring to be honest. And then towards the end, I mean, I was on the mediums. I think it was a couple of guys on the softs as well. It was just about managing them because it was half the race, I think, by that point. And then when all the chaos happened in front of me, I got brake checked as well on the last lap, so that's always fun. And yeah, and ended up in second, so I'm very happy with that.
Well, like I said with Mags, welcome to Saudi Arabia. But like I said, it was a good race in the end for yourself, as you mentioned as well. And you had you kept it out of trouble throughout most of the rest of the race. Then at the end of that one, and got yourself the reward from it as well. Then, so congratulations to yourself. Do you have any thoughts about the pace then from yourself? Like, it looked like you had some good pacing on the mediums in the final stint there.
Yeah, I think the pace I think was better in quali. I've struggled this season so far in quali, and I got the lap in, which was nice. The pace on the mediums were really good. I mean, most of the laps we were just in like a 7 car train, so it was just mostly coasting through the first sector. But yeah, the pace was alright in the end.
No worries. Well, you got yourself a good podium in the end. Your first podium of the season, I believe. If that's right, I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
But well deserved indeed as well. So cracking stuff from Mumford there in the AlphaTauri. Then P2 here tonight in Saudi Arabia. Then I think we've got Gordo in P3, but unfortunately not joined us then for the commentary or for the interviews, that is. But congratulations as well to Gordo in P3 in the Mercedes to round off the podium places there. But fantastic stuff indeed. Hopefully we've got more action coming up here tomorrow night in Saudi Arabia then from Bronze. So stay tuned for that one as well. Then that's going to be Sean taking you through that, thankfully, so I can have a nice rest. But we've got the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix on the Wednesday night for the 100% Realistic League as well. So stay tuned. There's plenty more action coming up on ALR, and we'll see you soon.